If you want to see more companies make things in America, consider buying more things from companies who are already doing that very thing. Companies like American Giant. These guys have been making t shirts, sweatshirts, flannels, and blue jeans in America for the last 14 years, with cotton grown right here in the USA. That means good jobs for lots of hardworking Americans in factory towns all over the country. Check out their stuff in stores everywhere or pick up something awesome at American-Giant.com.
Fall into big savings, all in the Kroger app. Get 3-pound packs of select varieties of juicy Kroger seedless grapes for $3.99 each. Then get flavorful USDA Choice boneless chuck roast for $5.99 a pound, all with your card and a digital coupon. Shop these deals at your local Kroger, less than 5 miles away. Or tap the screen now to download the Kroger app to save big today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Prices and product availability subject to change. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben, your go-to podcast for all things green and growing. I'm Ben, your allotment guide, and here to help you cultivate your garden and your passion for plants. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, this podcast is for you. Each episode will dig into tips, tricks and techniques to make your garden and allotment thrive. From planting, sowing and growing, we will share all the tips and advice. We will also have regular episodes talking about what we have been up to on the allotment. So sit back, grab a brew and enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Well, when you know that the episode gets published at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know it's been pre-recorded, as we are back at work now. So I've recorded some episodes so that you keep getting your podcast fix so that you can keep listening. And hopefully it keeps getting the podcast out there. Well, hopefully I am still alive, fingers crossed. Did you all see my Instagram post or Facebook post last night? Well, I cooked my beetroot. I tried it. I spent about £10 on buying all the ingredients and the bits and bobs to cook my beetroot, but it tasted absolutely fantastic. And I've got all the bits and bobs now, so I wouldn't have to pay that again. And basically, I looked for a recipe online of how to cook my beetroot in an air fryer, as I love my air fryer and I love learning new things to cook. And basically, all I did was I washed it and scrubbed it, peeled it, which I've never peeled beetroot before, first time. And yes, I've managed to get all the red out of my fingers. But yeah, we've done that. And then what we did, we sliced it into chips. Now, I've got one of these chopper machines where you put it in the top, slam the top down, and it chops it into pieces. And that was fantastic. It's the first time I've ever used it. I bought it earlier in the year so that I could use it for like cooking my courgettes and my squashes and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, I'll give it a try, see what it's like. And wow, it really did chop it well. I was quite impressed with that. So I'm going to try it on like my potatoes possibly next and stuff like that to make chippies from them. So I'm looking forward to trying that. So stay tuned for me trying them out and seeing if I need to buy any more ingredients to put in the cupboard for them. But yeah, all I did was I obviously chopped them into chip shapes. I put them in the air fryer. They'd been sprayed with some olive oil, and also I used some rock salt grounded into it and mixed it all together and put them in the air fryer for about 15 minutes on roast at 210 degrees. Now, the recipe said 400 degrees, but my air fryer didn't even go up to 400 degrees. So we put it at 210 and we roasted them and left them for about 15 minutes. We tossed them around after about halfway through so that they were even all over. And then after they cooked for about 15 minutes, I took them all out and I'd got some paprika, some coriander, and some, let me just check, bear with me, some cumin and some cinnamon and also some black pepper. So I just mixed them all in with some spices as that gives it an extra kick and an extra taste. And to be honest, when I took them out of the air fryer and tried them, to say they coated in the spices, they weren't that spicy at all. They tasted absolutely delicious. Now, they say not to put the spices on from the start, just to do it for the last 3 or 4 minutes, as obviously it might burn the spice and then it'll lose its flavour and its taste. But wow, they were absolutely delicious. So I now know how to cook beetroot. This is the first time I've ever cooked beetroot in the 20 years that I've had my allotment. I usually give my beetroot to my mum and she'll like boil it or do it like that, and then I'll just eat it raw after it's been boiled. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I'm not looking forward to tomorrow because everything might be red when it comes out. I've done that once before. I ate that much beetroot, it went red. And I was Googling thinking that I'd got issues, and it was all down to the beetroot. So never Google what you think you've got. I learned that lesson from that. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with that. So what have we got to talk about at the podcast today? Well, obviously, like I said, I'm back at work, but now I am busy trying to get things sorted and launched on my new website. I've been working hard on that, and I've been working hard on getting my podcasts back up and running. I've also been pushing out my Instagram as well as recently. I've been doing a lot more content for you, or I'm posting a daily tip on there now, which is doing well, which gets a lot of views on it. I'm posting some stuff what I've got up to at my allotment, and last night I started posting daily questions as well for everybody to get involved and interact with. So if you follow me on my Instagram and Facebook, make sure you get involved in the daily question that I'm going to post. It's for you all to get involved and interact. And hopefully, because of people interacting, it'll push my posts out even more. So feel free to get involved in the daily question. So yeah, that is what we've been up to. So what tips are we talking about today? Well, I can't believe that. I just recorded a full rest of the episode and it weren't picking up the volume. So we've got to talk about what are our favourite flowers, fruit, and vegetables in our allotment. So, yeah, hopefully you can hear me now. I just were ready to upload it and realised it had not picked up any volume. So, fingers crossed, it is working and you can hear me. So, what is our favourite plant on the allotment? Well, I posted this question on my Facebook and Instagram last night, so please do get involved and reply to it and let me know what your favourite plant is in your garden and in your allotments. So please leave a comment and get involved. This is your chance to get involved in this podcast. So my favourite plant would have had to have been my Victoria plum tree. However, it has let me down over these past few years. It's done absolutely atrocious. It's not fruited. That looks like it's dying off at the moment, which I'm not happy about. It's not looking good and healthy at all. So that would have been my number one plant on the allotment. But now that it's not doing well, it's resigned itself towards the bottom of the list. So my favourite plant would have to be my fuchsias on my allotment, as I've always wanted fuchsias. Fuchsias is something that I've wanted to grow for years, and I finally got round to buying some plants, getting them potted and getting them in the garden to enjoy. And every week they're getting bigger and bigger, the plants. They're really taking in the ground where I've planted them. I'm watering them regularly. I'm feeding them once a week with chicken manure, chicken pellets, and they're doing really, really well. And obviously I went to Gardener's World and they had this massive display on the wall of all different fuchsia plants. And they were showing you what they look like once they'd grown big as well. And then you could like choose which one you wanted, and they'd get a pot of it, and you could buy it and take it home with you. And every nice one that I kept seeing, I kept saying, "Is it a hardy one? Is it a hardy one?" They kept saying, "Nope, not hardy, not hardy." And I was like, "No, all the best ones weren't hardy," and they looked absolutely gorgeous. But we managed to walk away with some and get them planted in my allotment. We bought a load of bush variety ones, so they're growing well, and hopefully they'll bush out and fill some gaps in and make it look nice as well. And then we've got the normal varieties as well. So that has to be my best flower on my allotment that I am growing. And then secondly comes in like my sunflowers. My sunflowers looking absolutely gorgeous. And I did share a podcast on here giving tips and advice on how to grow your sunflowers, how to get them nice and big, and how to care for them and look after them. And my sunflowers are starting to grow really tall now. That we're looking after them and feeding them again regularly and watering them really well as well. So hopefully we'll get some massive sunflowers growing. And then obviously I've got my sweet peas as well, which are absolutely gorgeous and fragrant. I picked a load of those today and gave them to my mum as well. So the more you pick them, the more they'll do well. So we've got some beautiful sweet peas as well. But what is my favourite fruit that I grow on my allotment? Now, obviously, like I said, my Victoria plum tree would have been up there as my number one fruit tree to grow on my allotment. And unfortunately, it's not doing well. It's looking worse for wear. And if it comes to it, if it doesn't keep fruiting, it will come out. Now, the top next fruit one would have to be my rhubarb. My rhubarb is absolutely delicious. Now, I've got 16 crowns on my allotment, and you're probably all thinking, why has he got 16 crowns on his allotment? Well, that makes me have enough rhubarb to keep picking it every single week so that I can keep taking it to my parents' house so that they can keep making me crumbles and have delicious pies as well from my allotment. And obviously now we're coming on to the time when like blackberries are ready, loganberries are ready, raspberries are ready, so you can add them into the crumble as well, and they'll be absolutely delicious. And obviously with rhubarb as well, you can keep freezing it as well and use it as and when you need it. Now these rhubarb crowns have been in over 20 years. They are like original from my first things that I ever planted on my allotment, and they've lasted that many years. And I keep thinking, do I need to buy some more crowns? But nope, they keep growing back year after year and doing fantastic on my plot. I'm so pleased with how my rhubarb is doing on my plot. It looks absolutely fantastic. And this year I put mulch all around it, and it's kept the weeds down, it's kept it looking good. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how well my allotment is looking for my rhubarb this year. And I didn't realise how big the roots are on rhubarb until I actually read it. I can't remember the figure, but yeah, they grow massive. They're quite flimsy, but they grow absolutely far down into the ground. Now, I originally started off with about 8 rhubarb crowns, but when I redid the area, I think I did it up about, it must be going on about 10 years now. I did it all up. I put black membrane down. I lined them all up, and yeah, I re-put them all back in. I halved them all and put them back in, and they're doing absolutely fantastic. So I'm not going to touch that area as long as I probably will continue, to be honest, because they're growing really well every single year. They do fantastic, and they come back year after year. All I'll do is just keep putting some fresh mulch down around it as it rots down, and hopefully we'll have rhubarb year after year to come. Now, after my rhubarb, my favourite fruit would have to be my cooking apples. Wow. Again, my cooking apple tree has been in my allotment since I took it on. I purchased 4 fruit trees when I first took my allotment on. That was my cooking apple, it was my plum tree, and I had a cherry tree and a peach tree as well. Now, my cherry tree and my peach tree didn't do very well, so they came out. And obviously, if my plum tree doesn't keep doing well, that's coming out. We have planted 2 more Victoria plum trees, but they will take a few years to get going and get growing. So hopefully these will take well, and if I do end up taking my plum tree out, we have a backup and we know that it will grow well down there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year. We've got a lot of fruit on our allotment. Now, I always say that if you can get your money's worth back in your allotment from your fruit, you can forget about vegetables, but if you get enough fruit plants on your allotment, you'll get your money's worth back, because cooking apples are expensive. Rhubarb, you pay like £2 for 3 sticks. Expensive. You can easily make your money back on your allotment. Now, we're not allowed to sell stuff on our allotment as it's against the rules, but if I make back what I've grown, I am happy with how well stuff's come out. So if my vegetables fail, at least I know my fruit will have always grown and always done well. Now, this year we're going to have absolutely loads of blackberries. This year was the first year that we've had Logan berries on our allotment. They've done fantastic. And they're sending out loads more whips on the allotment. So I'm in middle of tying them all up and supporting them all, ready for them to grow fruit on next year, because Logan berries grow fruit on the canes that grew the previous year. So we've got all them to sort out. We've got us grapevines there growing well as well this year. I don't think we'll get any grapes this year. We'll have to wait and see for that. So in a few years' time, we'll be having grapes on our allotment as well. Everything's just doing really well on the plot. It's really taking off. And my thornless blackberry, wow. Now, I didn't realise how long these whips would grow on my allotment. Literally, I've planted one plant and it's nearly travelled the full length of my plot. And wow, it's done absolutely amazing. So yeah, that has been a bit of a roundup of what's my favourite flower. We talked about that. That's my fuchsia. What's my favourite fruit, which is my rhubarb. And we've not talked about what my favourite vegetable is. Now, my favourite vegetable has to be my sweet corn. That is absolutely out of this world. Now, I've been growing sweet corn for many years now, so I've learned how to grow it well. Obviously, you grow it in your square blocks. You don't grow it in rows because they need to pollinate with one another to produce the corn. Now, one year I got absolutely devastated by. I was about to pick them and I thought, I'll pick them all tomorrow. Literally, I came back the day after. Everyone had been eaten by mice or rats or something like that. And I was absolutely devastated. Then another year, I saw a squirrel running down the allotment site with a corn in its mouth. Literally a full corn, it was running with it. And I thought, we need to sort this. And I told my dad. And my dad came up with an idea where he gets the water bottles, cuts the bottom off it, and then shoves it over the top of the sweet corn once it's pollinated and it's starting to grow. So he did that, and he put one on every sweet corn cob because he saves them all from all the watery drinks throughout the year. Saved them all, covered every cob. Every cob was fine and nothing attacked them or ate them. And people on other plots had theirs eaten, and the squirrel were taking all theirs. But my dad's and mine were protected. So we're going to be doing that again this year. Cover all the cobs in water bottles, but make sure you do it after they've been pollinated and the corn is growing on the plant, because if you do it before they're pollinated, then they won't grow corn and you'll have a bad produce. So yeah, hopefully we're going to get some more fantastic sweet corn this year, but that's usually ready around September time. We're watering the plants like mad every single time we're down there, so that it gets the plants growing big and tall, so that we'll get lots of corn growing on the plants. So yeah, that has been my favourite things down at the allotment. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do get involved. Go onto my Instagram post or my Facebook post and comment your favourite down there as well. I want to see everybody's favourites and get it involved. And obviously leaving a comment does push the post out as well, which does help me. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please do give it a like. Please do give it a share as well into your Instagram stories. You can click the share button and post it onto an Instagram story so more people can listen to it. And if you're not following me, please do give me a follow. And until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with Ben, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Gardening with Ben. I hope you have found some useful tips and inspiration for your own gardening and allotment journey. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love for you to leave a review and share the podcast with fellow gardening enthusiasts. Your support helps us grow this community and continue bringing you great content. You can also follow us on social media on every platform called Gardening with Ben for daily gardening tips and updates. Happy gardening, and until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with